guys, I want to make sure first that whoever's here can actually hear me. I'm still working from home, but trying out some headphones. So if you can hear me, if you just like give me a thumbs up or write a comment. If not, then I'll just have to do it without the headphones. But this way you're not hearing my bulldog today chewing on a bone. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. If at any time you can't hear me, because obviously that's pretty important, if you'll just send me a comment and we can make adjustments as we go. So thanks. As you guys see, as you're joining me today, Fit to Fight Republic, Hope, I'm wearing headphones. So hopefully that'll cancel out some of the bulldog antics. These guys are still gonna probably be everywhere. So just know that we're gonna do the best that we can. So I hope everyone is doing well. Let's start in a seated position. Just find a comfortable seat. You close your eyes for a moment and just allow your body to get heavy. Notice which parts of your body are touching the mat or the floor. Notice any sensations that arise. Maybe your mind starts to wander. We're not changing anything, we're just observing. And then let's take a few cleansing breaths together. We talked about the pursed lip breath a little bit on Tuesday. So we're just going to inhale through our nose, hold for just a few seconds, and then exhale with pursed lips through your mouth, obviously. So let's take a deep inhale through our nose, hold it at the top, and then exhale. Let's do that again. Inhale, hold, and exhale. One last time. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Thanks, Anya. Yeah, after I finish teaching today, I get to go have a drive-through test, a drive-through COVID, to see if it's actually COVID or not. So let's start in our tabletop position. I'm gonna have to make some adjustments, but you guys are used to that. And of course the cats are gonna come and flock along with everything else in my life. They don't care anything about me until I start doing this, and then everyone's here. So just really press into your mat. Same thing as we were in our seated position. Let your body be heavy, spreading your fingers wide, pushing into your mat. And just breathe here for a moment. And your toes can be tucked, or you can flatten out your feet. And then just start to move through some cat and cows. This is good practice for stress, having to kind of adapt to new environments and change up routines. And you can move through some C curves, so moving your hips in one direction and then the other. Yeah, you can make this a really small movement, just your thoracic spine, or really juicy. Getting into it. Yay! Thanks, Ashley. I'm glad you can hear me. Hi, Sandy. Yeah. Stretch through. Nice. We'll come back to the center point. We're going to just start with some shoulder openers. So extending our right arm out to the side, you're gonna bring your fingertips up to the ceiling. Ooh, start that crack. And then you're gonna thread the needle. You're gonna let your shoulder touch and then come back up, bringing your fingertips back to the ceiling. We'll do that 3 more times. On the last one, we're gonna keep our shoulder on the ground. So your right fingertips go back to the ceiling. This is our last one we're gonna hold, so bring that shoulder all the way down to the ground. So once you're here, you wanna extend your left hand out further, and then maybe also take your left foot out to the side. I'll do it on the side so you can see. It'll look like this. If not, just keeping your shoulder pressed to the ground. Continuing to breathe. Notice if you're holding any stress in your shoulders, and if you can let that go. Notice if you are holding any tension in your face, in your jaw. And then slowly unwind. We'll bring the right fingertips back to the ceiling. And then come back to your tabletop position. Again, just gently moving through a few cat and cows. Some C curves before we move on to the other side. It's all ready. We'll just make this like, almost like you're moving through honey or maple syrup. Oh my God. And then extend your left fingertips out to the side. We'll bring them up to the ceiling. And then thread the needle, tapping your shoulder. Again, left fingertips to the ceiling. It's becoming kind of an obstacle course for me. So maybe you're having the same type of thing with dogs or cats or all of it. Last time, bringing that shoulder down to the floor. And then just release. You can walk your right hand this time out further. And then maybe that right leg comes out to the side. You can also start to look underneath your right armpit. Just relaxing into the pose, if that's possible. Again, checking in, notice where you're holding any tension. And breathe. You have that leg extended. Go ahead and bring that leg back in. You're going to unwind, bringing your left fingertips to the ceiling. Coming back through center. Again, maybe taking a cat and cow. This time taking your knees wide, toes come to touch if that's comfortable, and settling into a child's pose. So you can extend your fingertips out, spreading them wide towards the mat. Or if you want a shoulder or tricep stretch, you could bring your hands overhead or place them on the back of your shoulders. And breathe. You know, always new opportunities to learn, always new opportunities to cope with. I don't know if cats are stressful, but well, now they are. So just breathing into the space. Notice which parts of your body are touching the mat in this child's pose. Coming back to center. Go ahead and tuck your toes. Walking your hands back, coming into a kneeling position. You may want to separate your toes a bit as we're here. And as always, this stretch kind of stinks. So you may feel like you want to come out of it, but see if you can't stay in it just a little bit longer than you'd like to. So let me see if I can get a better view of everything for you guys. Not that you can't figure it out. There we go. So tucking your toes, coming into that kneeling position. And then just breathe. Releasing back into the tabletop. You can tap the tops of your feet. You can also sit back on the tops of your feet, bringing your hands beside you and lifting your knees off the ground for an opposite stretch here. We'll do that again. So tuck your toes, walking your hands back, coming up to a kneeling position. And just breathe, settling into your mat. Noticing the sensations that come up and trying not to react to them. Releasing back onto the mat, tapping the tops of your feet out, maybe sitting back and lifting your knees off the ground. And then we're just going to come onto our bunks, extending your legs out in front. Work on some forward folds here. So the first one, you can keep your knees pretty loose, or you can keep a micro bend in your knees. And we're just going to inhale our fingertips up to the ceiling, and then exhale. You can reach for your feet if you'd like to, or you can just place your hands beside your shins of your feet. We're not trying to straighten our legs out right now. We're just kind of hanging out in this pose. There's going to be a rounding in your spine. And just focus on your breath. Go ahead and walk your heels out a little bit further so you start to straighten your legs out just a bit. Still finding some rounding in your spine. We're not in a hurry. And then again, heels come out a little bit further. Maybe this time you start to straighten your legs. Maybe you reach for your feet here. It's also, I know I've mentioned this before, but if you take your feet just a little bit wider than your hips, sometimes that's helpful, especially if you have super tight hips. And then you can just start to, your hands can still be on the ground, on your shins if you want to reach for your feet. If reaching for your feet is more of a goal, keep a bend in your knees. That's all okay. And then if you want to start to come a little bit deeper into that forward fold, remember we're working towards getting our chest to our thighs, not our face to our legs. And then just let your breath kind of guide you. Be here for just another moment. And release, and then go ahead and come back up to seated. We're going to come to a wide leg straddle. Of course, my cats decide that it's time to, start their fight club. I guess that seems about right. So you're going to take a wide leg straddle. Only one of my feet is cut off, but I promise it's there. And then just gently start to work from one side to the other. Thanks for bearing with me during these weird times. Trying to make all this stuff work. And this is important to me too. It's not just showing up here and, teaching some stretches. And I mean, yes, it's about supporting Fit to Fight and my community, but a lot of times this winds up being just as much for me because the energy that I get from being with you guys. So I appreciate being part of this community. And then come back to the center. We're just going to walk our palms out in front. Again, spreading your fingers wide. It's helpful if you keep your toes activated. I guess you can't see that foot. Excuse me, mister. Keep your toes activated, pointed toward the ceiling, because that changes the rotation of your thighs and helps you move a little bit more deeply into this forward fold. If you want to. It's all about you. That's one great thing about doing these flexibility mobility practices is that you really get to choose. You get to choose how much intensity you want. You get to choose like what feels good in your body and what doesn't. If you're here and you want to take it a little bit deeper, you can start to drop your forearms to the floor. Even if they don't touch all the way, you can still bend your elbows. Continuing to breathe. Notice how as you inhale and exhale more deeply, how that might change the shape of the position that you're in. And also start to bend your knees a little bit, working into the pose a little bit more deeply. Maybe you come a little bit closer to the floor. Maybe that's next class. And then come back up, walking your hands back to a seated position. We're going to bring our left foot in to a seated tree position here. You're going to take your right hand up to the ceiling and either place it on your knee coming into a twist or on the outside. Now we'll come back to the center. We're going to come over to this side. So a couple of options here. You can stay with just your hand. Let me get so you can actually see my foot. On your leg, you can bring that hand down to the floor in front. You can reach for your toe here, bending at the elbow and stay here. Or you could take your, you can add in your left arm, bringing that left arm over, reaching for your foot. Again, activating your feet is really important and it's going to help you get a little bit more deeply into these poses. But all of these options are good. Also, if you're working on opening up your chest toward the ceiling, you probably aren't going to reach for that foot. Maybe you take this left arm and you just bring it behind you. So you're also getting a chest opening as well. Just a lot of different shapes to play with. Notice what's happening with your hips. If your left hip is really starting to come off the floor, maybe you just back out of it a little bit. If your left arm is over, go ahead and come back to a seated position. We're still going to work on this side. So you're going to face your right leg, and we're going to come into a forward fold here. Again, you can keep a nice bend in your knee. You don't have to touch your foot. Your hands can be beside your ankle. If you are working towards that flexibility, then again, you want to focus on getting your chest to your thigh, not your face to your leg. And then just try to relax into the pose a little bit. It's probably a little bit intense on the back side of your legs. Had to make his appearance. I think he's pretty disappointed that you guys can't hear him today, but I'm not. Go ahead and walk your hands back up. You're going to swing that leg out in front as wide as your hips, and then just start to windshield wiper your legs from side to side. Yeah. Extending your left foot this time, bringing your right foot in, or whichever side you didn't do the first time. Again, activating your foot. Left arm comes to the ceiling and either rest on your knee or on the outside of your right knee. Coming into a twist. And breathe. It's like Animal Kingdom over here if you haven't noticed. I was a vet tech for many years. So I thought that I had to, take all the misfit pets. I'm rethinking that now. I'm just kidding. Come back to center. Again, you can reach for your left foot this time. You can bend into that elbow if that's, something that you're able to do. We can take that right hand over. Maybe you reach for your foot here. Maybe not. Maybe you open up your chest, bringing that right hand behind you. Lots of options. Maybe you're just here. They're all great. And check in and see what's happening with that hip. If you notice that it's really starting to come off the ground, just back out a little bit. You're not doing less, or you're not doing anything wrong. You're still getting just as much out of it. You're just working with your body instead of trying to force it into shapes that it doesn't want to go into. Bring that right arm back, coming back up to your center. Then we're going to face our left foot this time. And again, we're going to extend forward. So, like I said, feel free to keep a micro bend in your knee. Or you can start to straighten that out. Working your chest towards your thigh, if that's in your practice. And breathe. Oh, goodness. Coming back up to a seated position. We're going to come back to hands and knees for a moment. Make sure back. Then let's come into our downward facing dog. And just take a moment to paddle out your dog. Starting to press your heels towards the floor. Maybe you bring your hips into it, so crossing one knee over and then the other. And then just walk your feet up to meet your hands, finding a forward fold. Maybe you grab your elbows, allowing your head to shake yes and no. You can find some movement here. Releasing your bind, slowly rolling up to standing. We're going to come into a wide leg stance, so it's okay if you can't see my face right now. That's not really important. So come to a wide leg stance. Your toes are going to be facing out, so your heels are going to be in. Bringing your hands to your hips, and we're going to come to this halfway point. And breathe. And then you can stay here, or if you have the room, you can reach your fingertips to the floor. You may have to heel-toe your feet further apart for that, and that's okay. Or you can always take a pillow or blocks if you happen to have them and use them here. And start to just notice as you shift your weight from your heels and your toes. Notice how that changes the sensations there. And breathe. You can release your head coming into a forward fold. Let's walk our hands over to the right side, over to our right ankle. You can work on your balance a little bit. If that's off, you can feel free to keep both hands grounded. But if you are balanced, try taking both hands to your right ankle. Walking your hands back through the center and then over to the left. Again, if you feel pretty balanced, start to lean your weight into your heels. That's going to give you a little bit of stability. And then bring both hands to your left ankle or left foot. Coming back through the center. Maybe you heel-toe your feet just a little bit closer together, bringing your hands to your hips. I'm going to slowly rise up. Again, you don't really need to see what my face is doing. Toes going to point out, heels in, and then just start to side lunge a little bit. And we're just moving really slowly here. We're not, there's no reason to move quickly today. It's all rainy and it's good napping weather. So you can stay right here, or if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can start to maybe reach for the floor. You can put your hands on the floor, toes can come to the ceiling. Again, you can stay right like this. This is great. You want to challenge yourself a little bit. You can start to shift from one heel to the other. If you're feeling like super balanced today, maybe you lift your hands and just let your lower body do the work. I don't know how long this will last for me, but give it a shot. You can pause wherever you'd like. One more time on each side. And then bring your hands back to the center. Pull to your feet a little bit closer together. A little bit wider than your hips. Bringing your hands to your hips. We're going to slowly roll up to standing. Nice. We're going to come into a squat position. So again, it's okay if you're up here. If you want to drop down a little bit more deeply, that's great too. Palms are going to go on the floor. You're going to rock forward, pressing your feet or pressing your hands into the mat, and then rock back, lifting your hands. Do this a few more times. Okay. A couple more times. Last time. And this is like a prep to do a arm balance, but I'm not really going to do that today. And then sit back in your squat. You can try to see if you can't get both of your heels on the ground. That might not be the case today, and that's okay. And breathe. So we're gonna stand up here, and great thing that Anya actually taught me. So we're gonna really fire up our glutes here. So push into your heels, firing up your glutes to come to a standing position. Then bring your feet closer together, shake everything out. You can roll through your ankles a bit, and then we'll come back down to the ground. So let's bring our hands up to the ceiling. I know you can't see mine. Exhale, come back into a forward fold. Walk yourself out into a downward facing dog. Shift into your plank pose and then come all the way down to your belly. Nice. We're going to come onto our forearms. Opening up through our chest, bringing our chin to the ceiling. If you notice any lower back pinching here, just tilt your pelvis towards the floor, and that should help. And if you still have a lot of sensation, you can come down a little bit lower. If you notice that you are able to really open up through your chest, walk your forearms a little bit more in front of you. So here we're going to point our left toe to the ceiling. You can stay here, or you can kind of hinge your hand into the center of your mat and reach back with your left hand for that foot, if that's, an option for you. If not, just stay exactly where you were. And if this is an option, you can start to work your heel closer to your bum. You should feel a stretch in your quadricep here. And if you're super flexible in your legs or your hips, you may not. But just working towards this, you're still getting a good mobility, flexibility stretch. And then slowly release. We'll come back to the center here. This time dropping your chin, coming into a passive variation of the Sphinx pose. Just allowing your neck to release. This always feels really good to me. Being on the computer, being on the phone. And come back to that neutral spot, pointing your right toe. Maybe just stay here, or you can reach back with your right hand for that foot. Again, just working your heel towards your bum. I feel like I'm involved in a hostile takeover here. And breathe. So you can breathe through anything. Whatever life has to throw at you. You just got to keep moving through it, right? And go ahead and release that. And then we're going to come back into our tabletop position. Move through some cat and cows here. Come all the way down to your bums. And we're going to set up for bridge pose. Oh my God. So we'll work through some rolling bridges first. So as you inhale, you're going to bring your hips and your hands up toward the ceiling. Your fingertips are going to go back behind you as your hips meet their highest point. As you exhale, you're going to bring everything back down to the ground. Hopefully you're not having to fight Animal Kingdom like I am at the moment. Again, lifting your hips and your fingertips towards the ceiling. Moving a bulldog out of your way if you need to. Exhaling, bringing everything back down to the ground. 2 more times like that. Inhaling. And exhaling. Oh my God. Did you guys expect to see a fist fight match between a girl and her bulldog? It's getting ready to happen. Last time, inhale. And this time, just hold your hip, hold your bridge. You can stay, your hands can either be by the side, or you can interlace your fingers underneath you and really start to stretch through your legs. You can play with coming onto your toes. Maybe you lift one leg, releasing that back down to the ground, and then the other. And release. Holding for just another moment. Maybe you take your bridge just a little bit higher. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And release, slowly coming back down. Bringing your knees into your chest. Giving yourself a squeeze. Taking an audible exhale is always helpful. Feet go to the ceiling. You can grab the outside soles of your feet or your thighs here for a happy baby or dead bug. Whatever appeals to you. Yeah. Then extend your legs to the ceiling. Hands can come behind your thighs, so you're pressing with your hands into your thighs and vice versa. So you have the option of just staying here, or you can start to bring your legs overhead, coming into plow pose. This is a really good back body stretch. You'll probably feel it in your neck, maybe even in your forehead. Your toes don't have to touch. It's okay if they're hovering above the ground. It's okay if your knees are bent. If your feet do touch, and you can really stretch through your heels for a more intense stretch here. And then more slowly than you'd like, start to come down one vertebrae at a time, bringing your knees into your chest, giving yourself a squeeze. And we'll just, as you inhale, pull everything off the floor, your head, your shoulders, create any kind of tension in your body that you possibly can. And then as you exhale, just release back down to the ground. We'll do one more of those. So inhale, pulling your forehead, your shoulders towards your knees, flexing your feet, engaging your glutes, your core, and then exhale, releasing everything to the mat. And then just just come onto your side in this like little fetal position for a moment. Giving yourself just a few moments to notice what's in your body now that you've gone through this mobility practice, flexibility practice. Taking a few breaths here. Coming up to a seated position. Nice. And then we'll just end with some neck release. So go ahead and drop your chin to your chest. Taking in some deep breaths. And start to roll your neck from one side to the other really gently. And then you make some full circles here in both directions. And then coming back to center, same thing, except this time we're going to use our nose like we're making circles the size of a small like teacup or tea saucer. And then you can start to open up to like the size of a dinner plate. And then we'll do the same thing in the opposite direction, except this time we'll start with the size of a dinner plate and slowly working your way back into the tea saucer circle shape. And then come back to center. Bring your shoulders up to your ears, releasing down your back, rounding through your shoulders. And then the other direction a few times. And shimmy your shoulders a little bit. I guess that's more of a shimmy, I don't know. Yeah. And one last thing. Right hand comes down to the side. Bring that left arm over, really stretch. You can reach for the other side of the room. And we'll move to the other side. Left hand comes down. Right arm over, really extending, reaching for that opposite side. And then come back to center. Give yourself a big hug. Right arm in front, or doesn't really matter, just do the opposite one next time. Release, opening up your arms towards the back of the room, and then recross with the opposite arm in front. Awesome. Come back to center. Shake it out. Thanks, guys, for showing up. Thanks for bearing with me with all of the antics. I think we got the sound thing down this time. Yeah, if you guys, as usual, if you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, feel free to let me know. And I'm always open for suggestions about what you guys might want more of. Either way, I hope you have a great day and a great weekend, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Thanks.